Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging into a really personal journey shared by one of our listeners.
Yeah, it's a deep dive into overcoming some pretty significant emotional stuff, relationship struggles.
And finding these, well, unique techniques for emotional balance, fulfillment, even building better connections.
That's right. The source material is incredibly candid, a personal story, but it's also woven through with these insights into, psychology and relationships.
So, what we're trying to do is pull out the core ideas.
Exactly, the surprising bits, the facts, and see, what kind of fresh perspective it gives on challenges lots of us face.
Right. So, our mission here is to unpack the key experiences, really understand the problem she identifies,
Hmm.
and get to grips with her one thing. This core technique, she claims, can really transform things.
And it covers a lot of ground.
Oh, yeah. Childhood stuff, relationship chaos, physical healing, even sexual function. It's all in there. Okay, let's unpack this. So, the author starts with, tough beginning.
Yeah. She describes severe allergies as a baby, lots of crying, feeling like maybe she was seen as a problem child,
And this really intense fear of being alone early on, trouble sleeping.
and then hitting the terrible twos.
Yeah.
That phase.
She talks about expressing these huge emotions, anger, frustration, and it just feeling overwhelming for her, for the adults.
Well, what struck me there was her point about sensitivity and how maybe there wasn't much understanding back then about managing big feelings.
Right.
The source says, babies cry, that's natural. But around two, when kids get words and volume,
Uh-huh.
adults suddenly expect this clear communication that developmentally just isn't really there yet.
Mm. So what happens?
She suggests this often leads to kids suppressing those outbursts, kind of,
No.
to keep the adults happy,
Mm.
and that inadvertently trains us to just stuff feelings down.
And that seems to follow her into school, that pattern of suppression.
It does. She felt she started at a disadvantage.
There's that story about competing with Kristen, this girl she knew from kindergarten.
Oh yeah, the rivalry.
But then they end up friends through a project, realizing they were born just days apart. It's like,
It shows that kid logic, maybe, but also that clash, like you said, between wanting to compete and wanting to connect.
exactly, that tension. She resisted norms, like wearing shorts under her dresses.
So she could climb trees faster, compete with the boys.
Right. But that constant need to prove herself sometimes, well, it kind of isolated her, didn't it?
It seems so.
Mm-hmm.
And there's that detail that really hits hard.
About her parents.
Yeah, living right next door to the school, but never coming to sports days, family things.
Oh, wow. She'd be searching the crowd for them.
Yeah, that feeling of not being seen, not valued. And then other things like being wrongly blamed at school, no apology.
The source makes a really powerful point there.
It does. That uncommunicated truth, it says, is like water wearing away rock. It erodes self-esteem fast.
That's a potent image. And when you feel isolated like that, you look for ways to feel, well, better.
Naturally. She found it in things like life-saving, sports, that cricket story, hitting home runs. She was good at it.
Yeah, she found her element there, but later that search kind of shifted, didn't it?
To less healthy fixes. Smoking, alcohol, trying to escape those feelings, separation, unworthiness.
She said she drank not really for fun, but to escape feeling, disconnected.
And that tough attitude she developed, partly from growing up with boys needing to prove herself.
It ended up pushing people away.
Yeah, feeling like she was always on the outside, tolerated maybe, but not really belonging.
That hot pools example is so stark. Choosing to just sink into the negative feeling instead of pushing past it and joining in.
It really shows how easy it is to slip into that victim mindset sometimes.
And how those suppressed emotions, not knowing how to handle them, just build these walls.
Exactly. Walls that stop real connection.
Yeah.
And you end up looking for validation or fixes outside yourself instead of finding comfort within.
So this whole pattern, seeking connection but struggling internally, it definitely carries into her adult relationships.
Big time. She talks about her long-term relationship with Russell. He was her best friend, even Dad approved.
Her first serious boyfriend. But wow, the challenges they faced.
The source is incredibly open about Russell's gambling addiction. The lying, the cheating, the money stress, depression.
It sounds exhausting. And she
Yeah.
describes feeling dependent on him.
Yeah, and even enabling him sometimes, like
Right.
that $20 shoulder rub story.
Right, needing him to engage so she could get her needs met, even if it meant feeding the addiction. It's
Really?
complex.
That reliance is a huge theme. And alongside all that, the financial and emotional stuff.
There were major sexual problems, too.
Yeah, her lack of fulfillment, not being able to orgasm, and then later his issues with erectile dysfunction.
What's really interesting is how she reflects on it. She wonders if her own mixed messages, her reluctance, maybe contributed to his problem.
Mm-hmm. And how that disappointment just killed her libido over time.
It really shows how tangled it all gets. Emotions, addiction, intimacy.
Definitely. And then there's that story about Jazz the dog. So painful.
Oh, gosh. Hit by a car while Russell was meant to be watching.
And his immediate reaction was to blame her. The burial sounds traumatic, too.
It's like this raw example of how all the unresolved stuff, the blame, just played out between them.
Yeah. And there was that other anecdote, too, about Russell's friend, Carrie.
The one who overstayed his welcome for years.
Mm-hmm. They just tolerated it until she finally had to set the boundary.
And Carrie was stunned, apparently. But then later, Russell wouldn't set a similar boundary, saying something like, remember what happened last time.
It just points back to that reluctance to face discomfort, conflict, avoiding the hard conversations.
Which links back to stuffing down emotions, right?
Exactly. So all these things, the addiction, money, sex issues, emotional distance, blame, boundaries, they just piled up.
She describes reaching a breaking point, this huge internal conflict. Leave or stay.
And so much of it tied to that reliance on him, that fear of being totally on her own, responsible for everything.
And then the shock, the catalyst.
Russell's sudden death, heart failure. Just before their birthdays, their anniversary.
She talks about trying CPR, the difficulty, telling his family, just raw pain.
And the funeral details, needing the casket, carried down that grassy slope.
That initial feeling that he was still there somehow, followed by just the crushing reality of his absence.
His death, especially she remembered him saying he didn't have a reason to live. It seemed to trigger something profound in her.
A shift.
A real shift. Like life is short. She didn't want to waste more time feeling unfulfilled.
This deep desire for a life truly worth living, to feel loved, connected.
And crucially, she says, to finally have a fulfilling sex life. That was important.
So she starts this intense search for answers. And what's really striking is her experience with traditional therapy, psychotherapy, counseling.
She found they helped her understand the why.
Yeah.
Right? Why the patterns, why the feelings, digging into the past.
But not the how-to.
Exactly. Not how to manage those intense feelings in the moment. Not how to actually achieve fulfillment, especially sexually.
It's a critical distinction she makes. Understanding the cause isn't the same as having a tool to change things now.
Right. So she spent years searching for those how-to answers, researching, experimenting.
Developing her own methods, basically. Because the mainstream stuff hadn't worked for her or for the clients she later helped.
Which brings us to the core idea in the source. The one thing.
The switching technique.
Yeah. And the source explains it using a simple model of the mind. Conscious mind, reasoning, logic.
And the subconscious. The massive storage place for data. Automatic programs.
Think of it like your computer. Your conscious mind decides, I need this info or I want to do this, and it switches to access the subconscious database and programs.
She gives everyday examples, like switching attention from listening to reading the script, maybe.
Or from thinking about braking to actually doing it while driving. Smooth transitions between tasks. Your conscious mind really only focuses fully on one thing at a time.
Okay, so that's the switching, but what's the problem it solves?
The core insight, and this might sound a bit backward at first, is what she calls emotional resistance.
Meaning, trying not to feel bad?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Try not to feel uncomfortable emotions, fighting the physical sensation of the feeling.
And that's the main problem.
That's what she argues, yes. That resistance is what causes the disconnection, gets your mind tangled in negative thoughts, creates all that mental chaos she felt.
So the practice, the one thing, is what? Not resisting.
Essentially, yes.
Yeah.
Instead of fighting or analyzing the emotional discomfort when it gets triggered, you briefly allow it.
Allow the physical sensation.
Just let it pass through you, like you'd allow a sneeze or yawn. Just for a moment, lean into the physical feeling instead of pushing it away.
Okay, and what does allowing it do?
According to the source, allowing that momentary physical feeling automatically switches your attention away from the overthinking, resisting conscious mind.
And towards the subconscious.
Yes, and the claim is the subconscious then activates its built-in programs to regulate things automatically breathing, heart rate, blood pressure, muscle tension.
Leading to feeling better instantly.
That's the claim. Feeling better, restoring clarity, because you broke the loop.
What?
The wrong reaction loop, she describes. You feel an emotion, you have a negative thought about feeling it. Oh no, not this again. which triggers more emotion, more negative thoughts.
Then you spiral down.
Right.
Uh,
But by allowing that first physical sensation, just letting it be there for a second, you step off the spiral before it really starts.
Because emotional responses are naturally brief.
That's what the source emphasizes. Their physical programs, maybe only lasting seconds, they're designed to end in peace if you let them complete. Resisting is what keeps you stuck in the feeling and the thoughts.
Okay, I can see how that applies to emotional regulation,
Right.
managing anxiety, frustration, stopping that spiral.
Definitely. David's story she shares is a powerful example. Learning to deal with his emotional responses helped him overcome addiction, regain sexual function, things tied to looking for external fixes.
And what about the connection to sexual fulfillment? That seems like a big jump.
Well, the source argues it's directly linked. If your mind is wandering during sex, analyzing, worrying, is this working? It confuses the brain.
It can't run the right program for fulfillment, like orgasm.
Exactly. You need focus. The brain needs a clear procedure, she calls it. This technique helps provide that focus by clearing the emotional resistance.
She talks about sexual function, emotional connection, attraction, alignment.
Right. Key ingredients. And she says emotional resistance messes with attraction and libido too, creates that neediness that can push partners away.
And the testimonials, she includes Brian with ED after surgery, Nick with premature ejaculation, Jean achieving orgasm at 76.
They're presented as evidence that these issues, often seen as really difficult, can actually be resolved by learning to manage the mind and emotions during sex using these methods.
It's like giving the brain the right input so its natural processes can just work.
Pretty much. Like providing the missing instruction manual, clearing the interference.
This idea of alignment, taking deliberate action, it reminds me of Paul Diamond's story. Tiger, Diamond.
Oh, from the foreword by Dr. Raghavan.
Yeah.
Yeah, incredible story. Horrific accident, hit by a drunk driver,
Told he might never walk again.
and he refused surgery. Instead, he used his own logic, self-manipulation, focusing entirely on alignment, and healed himself over years. A walking miracle, his doctor called him.
And he used similar ideas to get his Snicker skills back after the accident, even though his body was different.
Yeah, the source uses his journey as this strong parallel example, overcoming huge physical and emotional hurdles by understanding alignment and taking deliberate internal action.
Supporting the idea that this approach isn't just about emotions or sex, but applies more broadly.
To everything in life, as the source puts it, getting mind and body working together properly.
Okay, so if we pull this all together, the core message seems to be what?
Well, distilling it down, it seems to be that a lot of our problems, feeling overwhelmed, anxious, relationship struggles, sexual issues, they often stem from this basic misunderstanding.
Misunderstanding how our minds and bodies work, and resisting our own natural emotional responses.
Exactly.
Fighting ourselves, essentially.
And these techniques, especially the switching technique, just allowing the physical discomfort of an emotion for a moment, offer a practical way out of that fight.
A way to manage the resistance.
Which, the claim is, restores clarity, balance, and lets us access our own built-in programs for feeling good, connecting, performing, whatever it is.
Without needing constant external fixes or endless mental loops. Moving away from that search outside ourselves.
It's quite a journey, she describes, from feeling so broken.
To finding the fix wasn't external at all. It was about understanding internal processes and making that simple, maybe counterintuitive, shift in how feelings are felt, physically.
Yeah, it really is a powerful story, from childhood pain, relationship chaos, loss,
right through to self-discovery and finding practical tools for really deep issues.
She believes that whole turbulent journey led her to discover these essential life skills. Skills she feels aren't usually taught.
The missing manual idea again.
So a final thought for you listening. What stands out to you from all this? Yeah, think about it.
Given how much of life's instruction manual seems to be missing, what if some of our biggest struggles could be eased by understanding something as, well, apparently simple as allowing a difficult feeling to just pass?
It's definitely food for thought.
Maybe just reflect on that and perhaps notice next time you feel resistance to an emotion, just notice if fighting it actually helps or if maybe it makes things worse. Something to consider.